The search component of the invention idea processor will help you determine if your idea is patentable. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to search the internet to see if your idea has already been patented. What you're looking for is called prior art. According to the USPTO, prior art constitutes those references or documents which may be used to determine novelty and/or non-obviousness of claimed subject matter in a patent application. A layperson's definition of prior art is any evidence that your idea has already been invented. It could be a patent application currently under review, a granted or issued patent, or a product that's already on the market or has ever been on the market. Novelty and non-obviousness. These are your two pillars in determining that your idea is patentable. Just keep this in mind when you're searching through the prior art. If you find anything similar to your idea, ask yourself if your version is a novel and non-obvious improvement. For example, a table with 5 legs is neither novel or non-obvious. The idea of adding an extra leg to a table is not original or useful enough to be protected with a patent. However, a table that transforms into a canoe would probably be considered both novel and non-obvious. This search component will help you see if your idea is really original and get you to start thinking about why your idea is novel and non-obvious. It'll also help you figure out who your competitors are, so you can research their product lines for any relevant prior art. If you think that a specific competitor may have already made something similar to your invention, you can use Google to search only within their website by typing in your search term followed by site, and the name of your competitor's website. For example, if I type in the search term bar tool rinser, site, perlick.com, Google will only show results from Perlick's website. This lets me focus my search so I can see if they make anything similar to my invention. I've linked to a video in the resources section that will show you some more advanced Google searching tips. Google is the most obvious way for you to search for relevant prior art. Use different combinations of keywords, phrases, and synonyms that might have to do with your invention idea. So let's pretend that we're doing a prior art search for my invention, auto rinse. So we'll go to Google and type in the phrase bar tool rinser. I'm going to switch to images here so I can actually see the products, which makes searching a bit easier. And I'm just going to very slowly scroll through the results, carefully looking for anything that resembles my invention. We're basically trying to find evidence that our idea is still patentable, so we want to be as thorough as possible. As you're uncovering the prior art, start analyzing the search results and see if your invention is different. So let's use my invention as an example, which happens to be here in the search results. What makes my invention novel and non-obvious? For one, it rinses 2 vessels or glasses at the same time, both the inside and outside surfaces, and it also rinses a cocktail strainer. All the examples of prior art only rinse the inside of 1 vessel at a time. Auto rinse is also automatic. You can press a button and walk away from it, while the other rinsers have to be held down for them to spray water. So that's an example of how I want you to start thinking while you're doing your search. You want to start figuring out how your product is different or novel from what's already on the market. I also want you to keep track of all the relevant prior art you find in your searches because this will help you file your patent application. Another great resource to search for prior art is Google Patents. Now doing this is going to be a little more complex and the results may not be as straightforward, but you should still see how this works. So we'll go to patents.google.com and we'll enter in the term bar tool rinser. Now, we can see that the results don't seem as relevant as they were in our Google search. For example, integrated robotic sample transfer device wouldn't be considered prior art to my invention. But you can also play around with the synonyms on the left side here and see if that helps you get more relevant results. Remember what I said about your competitors earlier in the lesson? Well, you can use this section to search all of your competitors' relevant patents by using the assignee field. An assignee is a person or company that owns a patent. For example, my company owns my patent. So if we enter OmniRinse, which is my company's name, then we'll see my patent here. If we click on it, we can read the patent. So we have the abstract, which is a description of the patent. Below that, we can see some drawings. And if we look here to the right, we know it's a United States patent, as we can see in the blue box. Below that, we can see who the inventor is, who the patent is currently assigned to, and what the priority date is. The priority date is basically the start date of the patent. If you notice here, I applied for my application in 2012, and it was granted in 2017. Remember what I said about patenting being a long process? We can also see that it's assigned to omnirance and that it's in active status. Also notice the adjusted expiration date, which is 2034. The USPTO gave me a 2-year extension because of how long it took to grant the patent. Below that, we have the description and claims section. The description is where you're going to provide details about your invention and explain your drawings. The claims are where you're going to need the most help from a patent attorney. Another great place to do prior art search is YouTube. YouTube is the second most popular search engine after Google. Use the same keyword strategy you used in Google to find prior art. I would also recommend that you look for any prior art on Vimeo as well. Social media is also a good place to search for prior art. Facebook is a great place to find just about anything. In Facebook, groups in particular are great places to do research to see what people are talking about in your field of invention. If your invention is more of a business or commercial application, LinkedIn is a great place to do research. Pinterest is a great place to do visual searches for consumer products, and so are Instagram and TikTok. Twitter can also be a good place to find conversation threads that are relevant to your field of invention. Do several searches for several days. I'd give yourself a solid 2 weeks to see if you can find out if your idea has already been patented. You want to do as much uncovering on your own as possible. Forums like Reddit, Quora, and Answer the Public are also good resources for finding prior art related to your invention. When visiting forums, don't ask questions that might reveal your idea. While you need to be asking questions about pain points or challenges that your future customers might be dealing with right now, don't talk specifically about exactly how your invention functions to solve those problems. The main objective is to quietly observe and see what kind of challenges people in online groups or communities related to your invention are facing. What to do after your search. If you found something online that resembles your idea, or if you can definitively say that your idea has already been invented, I'm sorry to say this, but your idea in its current state cannot be patented. But don't give up so quickly. Take a deep breath and ask yourself these questions. Does my idea have one or more additional features that makes it different? If so, you can keep moving forward because remember, improvements on the prior art are eligible for utility patents. If not, can you think of one or more useful features to add to your invention? You might not be able to answer this question immediately, so give yourself some time to work through this. The third component of the invention idea processor, document, will help you think about how you might add additional features to improve your idea. Even if you can't think of that additional feature right now, keep going through the invention idea processor because the exercises might help you uncover that one additional feature or help you pivot to create something totally new. If you've gone through this search exercise and have determined that your idea is still novel and non-obvious, that's good news because you can now move forward with a little more confidence. If you finish all three components of the invention idea processor and determine that your invention is still viable, I recommend paying for a professional search before you file for a patent. Professionals have more access to finding prior art than us, and it's always a good idea to hire a professional to give you an added level of comfort. A professional search costs anywhere from $500 to $1,000, but it's worth it. Like anything, paying a professional will save you so much headache, heartache, and money in the long run. As we saw in our Google patent search, the patent database is complicated, and finding relevant prior art takes skill and experience. After a professional does their search for you, they should give you a detailed report of any relevant prior art, along with copies of domestic and foreign patents that are related to your invention. If a professional search cannot uncover any prior art that disqualifies your idea, it will give you peace of mind and confidence in moving forward and eventually filing for a patent if you choose. I paid for professional searches on all three of my patent applications, and the professionals were able to find much more than I was able to. There are firms that specialize in doing prior art searches, and most patent attorneys also do prior art searches. The reason I teach you to do your own search first is so that you can get a good idea about what's on the market and to save yourself some money. Finding prior art that disqualifies your invention idea on your own is much cheaper than paying someone else to. But more importantly, I want you to do the initial prior art searching to get in the habit of being your best advocate. If you eventually decide to pay for a professional search, I want you to be very involved in reviewing and analyzing the results, so you understand exactly where your idea stands in relation to all the prior art. Read through all the patents and look at the drawings so you can be certain that your idea is still eligible for a patent. I want you to look for all the similarities and differences between your invention and any other products on the market or products that have already been patented. You want to do this so that you can confidently speak about why your invention is novel. Because like me, you may find yourself in a position where you'll have one last chance to prove it to a patent examiner. You may have to show them a different perspective on why your product is novel, non-obvious, and worthy of a patent. So I want you to look at your invention from every possible angle. But proving your case to a patent examiner is for a later time. We still have to get through the evaluate and document components of the invention idea processor, so I'll see you in the next lesson.